Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. How many of you work in inner city schools? Anybody? A few. Have you ever taken the time to ask your students what they want to be when they grow up? If so, then I bet you've gotten responses like this, or or even this. Now, let me be clear. There's nothing wrong with aspiring to have careers in any of these professions. The concern is that so many of our youth are limited by what they see as viable options. When I talk to my students, they think of careers that are lucrative or that they associate with power or respect. They overwhelmingly have an interest in entertainment, athletic positions, or in the social services. You see, they don't regularly see engineers and scientists, pilots, and doctors who look like them and who come from their communities. And that, in turn, impacts who and what they think they can be. It's no secret that minorities and women are underrepresented in science, technology, and engineering and math fields. And that's largely due to different factors, but one is most certainly exposure, right? Researchers will tell you that the college planning process begins in middle school. But before you can get to that point, you have to have some clear ideas of what you want to be. So, sure, some of us have applied or changed our mind 13 to 30 times before we applied to college, but somewhere between mad scientist, doctor, prima ballerina, lawyer, and leader of the free world, we had some solid ideas of what we wanted to be when we grew up. And for those of us that are in that bucket, those options were limitless. But for so many of our young people who come from low-income neighborhoods and who attend under-resourced schools, there are most certainly limits. And that's where high-quality after-school programs like the Fishing School come into play. The Fishing School has served families and students in the DC area for over 28 years. Targeting Title I elementary schools, we primarily serve students in wards 7 and 8, which have the lowest income rates, highest poverty rates, and the lowest graduation rates in the district. Over 90% of the students at the schools that we serve are minority and qualify for free and reduced lunch. Now, while this doesn't indicate that a student won't go on and be successful or that they won't get a career in STEM, we have to admit that there are stark disparities in educational attainment based on geographic location, race, and income. DCPS schools in particular, those in wards 7 and 8, continue to face challenges closing the academic achievement gap. According to DCPS school profiles, 50% of the schools in Ward 7 and nearly 70% of schools in Ward 8 have an I just lost my train of thought, are marked as target or priority schools, which means that they have a need to have structured plans in place to close the academic achievement gap. If you look at the most recent PARCC scores, you can see that 88% of students in Ward 7 and 90% of students in Ward 8 fail to meet proficiency in English language arts. Similarly, 89% of students in Ward 7 and 91% of students in Ward 8 fail to meet proficiency in math. How can we expect our students to go on and be excited about educational careers in science or want to have advanced degrees in STEM if they can't pass their basic math and English standardized tests? Well, hopefully I have an answer for that. I spoke to you a moment ago about exposure, right? And so STEM and STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, for those of you who are new to the acronym, have been buzzwords for the last decade. There are lots of organizations that are out there that are trying to get students engaged in the sciences, particularly minority students. But anyone can say, hey, we do STEAM, and they have cute little science lessons once a month. But it takes a lot more to have a full understanding of what's needed to excite and engage students in science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And that's something that the Fishing School does well. So we have a three-pronged process. Part of it is certainly STEAM curriculum. So yes, we do STEAM. Our students participate in STEAM activities once a week, but we have interactive, interdisciplinary lessons that are aligned with our cohort model, scaffold up. So what does that look like? That means that while our second graders are learning to repurpose, recycle, and reuse, our fifth graders are talking about waste, where it goes, and making their own model landfills. Similarly, in our Sankofa unit, our first graders are working as apprentices, right, and learning about notable African American scientists, while our fifth graders are asked to identify problems in their home, their school, and their community, and then come up with their own creations so that they can address those problems. In doing this, we're inspiring our students to become artists and scientists and really move them full steam ahead. The second prong of our program is technology. So, you guys know that we have technology natives, right? And if you're not sure what that means, the simple solution is I have two toddlers. It takes me 25 minutes to get their coats on, their shoes on, so we can go to the park. Hand them my cell phone, they can FaceTime grandma, call an Uber, find their favorite Elmo video, and send a tweet in under 2 minutes. The synchronization of cell phones and internet make a lot of us think that there aren't issues with internet access, but we're wrong. A recent survey of our families revealed that 38% did not have internet at home. And even those that do, don't have computers. So the digital divide still exists, and it's a very real thing. For many of our students, they're used to handheld devices, right? Laptops and tablets, but their tests are on actual physical computers. Ever try and send anything more than a simple text on your phone? Can you imagine never having a physical computer in front of you, but then going to take your GRE or your SAT on a computer? There's a big difference when you're not used to manipulating a mouse or using the control keys on a keyboard. And so we invested in our own laptop carts so that we could have a 1-to-2 computer to student ratio and have laptops actually accessible at the school so students can be on physical computers multiple times a week. In addition to that, we've purchased our own iReady licenses, which is an online reading and math tutorial that individualizes student learning. And finally, we have what we call our Key Kids Club, which is our technology club for students who are learning to keyboard, they're learning about 3D art, and doing music mashup. The third part of our program is exposure. We partner with our community and corporate partners to have students go on co-curricular activities so that they can be further exposed to careers, right? It's not enough to just show them a picture or a biography of an African American who's in the field. Seeing is believing. And so in August, this fall, we had our students go to the Visual Arts Lab in Deloitte, where they learned about positions that they didn't even know existed. I mean, they met everyone from computer programmers to somebody who manages spies. Honestly, I met people that I didn't even know existed. So giving them this interactive exposure and really having them be able to see firsthand that they can have these roles is important. Because if you look at the research, one of the things that you find about African American students in undergrad is that they primarily tend to go into human services fields. And that's because so many of us view positions that are, again, respectful, or when we think of the people who we see look like us in our communities, we see nurses, and we see school counselors, and we see preachers. And so a lot of people are drawn to those positions. So the same level of respect isn't there for the STEAM positions. So we work with our parents and work with our students to show them and to raise the value of those different jobs in the science, technology, engineering, and arts fields. And when we do that, we know that we're really making a difference. So it's not enough for me to just see that, oh, kids are enjoying STEAM and they don't want to go home. But when I hear DeMerrill say, oh, I want to be a chemist because that lava lamp experiment, it was like mixing things up. And I'm pretty sure that's what chemists do. Or when Chloe pulls me to the side and says, you know what, I think I want to be an architect because my spaghetti tower was taller than everybody else's, and I think I can do this. That's what makes me know that we're really making a difference. And when we do that, and other organizations partner, and we all collectively work to engage students in the sciences, to reduce the technology gap, then I know that as a nation, we continue to move people full steam ahead. Thank you.